By emphasizing the interactive nature of argumentation, teachers help students see that argumentation involves convincing or being convinced. It's not just presenting a claim to classmates, it's showing your audience that your claim is well supported and that competing claims are not as well supported.
The next step, after you've convinced yourself, let's say, and your team with these statistics that we have a true result, that's not good enough, obviously, in science. We need to make an argument to the greater community.
We want to help kids see the authentic purpose of argumentation in their classrooms as persuading an audience or persuading other members of their community, their classroom community, persuading them of the strength of their claim, the strength of their argument, and that in science, the way you do that is by supporting your claim with evidence.
Trying to convince others occurs during a variety of argumentation activities. In this group discussion, after gathering evidence from a simulation, there is student-to-student interaction. These students are discussing two claims. Abdi's claim. Eating a lot of food before you exercise will give you more energy than eating small amounts of food during exercise. Desiree's claim. Eating small amounts of food more frequently during exercise will give you more energy than eating a lot of food before you exercise. These students are trying to convince each other about which claim is better supported by the evidence.
Desiree's claim. We got them set up. You can do a little coaching.
Desiree's is not the smarter one. Abdi's is.
How?
Well, if you eat a lot before you run, you just, run faster and you...
Yeah, but what we've seen is that after the 3-minute mark, his energy starts to drop insanely fast.
Notice these students are not solely presenting their arguments and ideas to their classmates, but they are trying to convince one another.
Keeping his energy up around 90%.
Just as in oral arguments, when the goal is to convince in a written argument, students need to make a claim and present evidence and reasoning for that claim. They need to remember that their audience has to be convinced. In this example, students are engaging in low-stakes writing.
We think Desiree's claim is stronger. She claimed that eating little amounts within being active helped you maintain a higher energy level. The evidence is that within Abdi's claim, the Sim's energy depleted after the 2:30-minute mark.
To create a convincing argument, students take a stance. They choose a claim and then reason through how the evidence connects to that claim. In student-led discussions, students critique their peers' arguments and build onto each other's ideas. Here, students are engaging in a formal science seminar discussion. In this example, students have completed a heredity unit and are exploring inheritance through the context of breeding glowing cats. The three competing claims are: the allele for fluorescence is 1. Dominant or 2. Non-dominant or 3. Incompletely dominant.
And if it was incompletely dominant, then some cats would be like kind of half glowing and like a low glow, and then others would be more bright. So it is not incompletely dominant because it doesn't vary in brightness.
I disagree with that because I think you're talking about codominance. Incomplete dominance would mean that it doesn't have to have two alleles of the trait to have the trait, and it also doesn't have to just have one. It varies depending on, we don't really know why, but if one parent has the trait and the other parent doesn't, then it depends on it depends. Sometimes the cat or the offspring will have the trait, sometimes they won't.
Well, in the article thingy, it said that that they didn't vary in glowing. Mm-hmm. So that is true, but see up there it says if you have two copies of the trait, then it will grow more brightly, and if you only have one, then it'd have a lower glow.
Oh.
When the goal is to convince, students question and critique each other's arguments. They listen to and build on each other's ideas.
If the students in class see the purpose of writing or talking about their arguments, if they see the purpose as being persuasive, then they are more likely to be sort of both motivated and inclined to construct strong arguments, because if the purpose of argument is persuasion, then you really have to think about, how am I going to persuade someone that this is a good claim? What do I need to do to convince them? How much evidence do I need? How do I need to present that evidence? So by helping students focus on persuasion as the goal, it helps them do higher quality argumentation.
Argumentation is an interactive process. By emphasizing the interactive nature of argumentation, teachers help students see that argumentation is a process of convincing or being convinced. Many argumentation activities are interactive. When students try to convince each other in discussion, when students have the goal of convincing their audience in written arguments, and when students critique their peers' arguments.